The April 24th, 2013 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Andrews? Mr. Antelli?
Here.
Mr. Baroth?
Yes.
Mr. Daniele is excused. Mr. Haney? Mr. Hanna? Mr. Howland?
Here.
Ms. Cayley is excused. Mr. McCann?
Here.
Mr. Tucciarello?
Here.
Chairman Yolovich?
Here. Are there any speakers signed up for the public forum?
There are no speakers this evening.
Is there anyone here who would like to address the committee at this time? Hearing none, the next item is the approval of minutes. You have the minutes from the March 27, 2013 the meeting in your folder. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 13-116.
Moved by Legislator Howland, seconded by Legislator McCann. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-117. Acceptance of a grant
Moved
from
by
the...
Legislator McCann, seconded by Legislator Tucciarello. Is there any discussion? Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair, two questions. How does Monroe County itself benefit from this project?
Jenny Satter, Public Safety. Through the chair, Monroe County will actually get equipment. They will be the benefactors of the equipment, but it will help when surrounding responders come into Monroe County. It will assist our 911 center so the dispatcher doesn't have to be aware that somebody's coming in. They will hear them anyway.
Okay. Second question through the chair. Does this involve any of the activities for which the county has contracted with M3S?
Through the chair, no. M3S is more of internal to Monroe County operations, and this grant enhances our regional interoperability with surrounding counties.
So through the chair, none of the equipment we're buying with this grant is equipment we otherwise were contracted to M3S to buy?
Through the chair, you are correct.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-118.
Moved by
approval.
Legislator Tucciarello, seconded by Legislator Antelli. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-119. Acceptance.
Moved by Legislator Antelli, seconded by Legislator Hanna. Is there any discussion? Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The transmittal says that flu shots are going to be given in the schools, but the health department is not going to do it. Who is going to do it?
Through the chair. Through the chair, the University maybe of Rochester will be contracting with an entity, who will provide the actual administration of the vaccine in the schools. Part of the idea of looking at this particular project in the Monroe, maybe county area to sort of see how this perhaps can be replicated nationwide, on a mass scale, and given the limited maybe resources in terms of staffing that we actually have at the county level, that was some of the thinking involving the third party through U of R, since they are the actual recipient of the grant.
But it's a contractor for the university that will be administering the injections?
Through the chair, that has not been determined, I guess maybe at this time. It probably will be the case, but that has not been decided, and when that is decided, we can communicate that information through the chair.
Okay. And final question through the chair, is this going to be done at all schools in the county or only selected schools?
Through the chair, this is a 5-year project, and during the first year, there will be a lot of effort spent on planning, and as a result of that, they will only target about maybe 5 schools towards the end of the year, and those 5 schools will be both in the city and in the suburbs.
Okay. Thank you.
Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I have a follow-up question regarding the number of schools being served. In the referral, it talks about the test that the U of R did in collaboration with Monroe County. Through the chair, how many schools were involved in this test?
Through the chair, I don't have maybe the exact numbers available at this time that I can provide that to you, but that was a number that was on the order of about, I believe, like about a dozen.
About a dozen. Thank you. And then through the chair of the administration, I think you may have answered this, but when I read this referral, I was unclear as to whether or not this grant we are choosing to accept would actually result in any shots being distributed in this coming year. But in fact, there will be immunizations occurring under the auspices of this grant. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-120,
Moved by
acceptance.
Legislator Hannah, seconded by Legislator Howland. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-121, acceptance.
Moved by Legislator Howland, seconded by Legislator McCann. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-122.
Moved by Legislator McCann, seconded by Legislator Tucciarello. Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The transmittal says that Lifespan will implement a pilot program to create the da-da-da. And my question is, haven't we been contracting with Lifespan for some time to prevent elder abuse problems?
Through the chair. Yes, this is actually a new program. It's an enhanced multidisciplinary team, and New York State actually pre-identified Lifespan as the designated provider.
So through the chair, this is some kind of a variation on what we've been doing?
It is. It's an expansion. It's actually going to primarily focus on financial exploitation. It's going to allow for forensic accounting and deeper dive into families or older adults, excuse me, who have been affected by financial abuse.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-123.
Moved by
authorized-
Legislator Tucciarello, seconded by Legislator Antelli. Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I note that the contract is designed to primarily provide a 3,000 square foot addition, but it also talks about refurbishing the locker rooms. Are there any other work being done to the current space as well?
Through the chair, Jason Kennedy with Engineering and Facilities Management at DES. I apologize. I believe I heard the question was in addition to locker room modifications, was there any other work through the chair? Did I understand that correctly?
In the current space already available, not the 3,000 foot addition.
Through the chair, yes, there's a very modest, what I would actually call a locker room refresh. There's some additional fixtures and counters going into the existing bathroom portion of the locker room, but that's the extent of work to the existing space.
Thank you.
Legislator Andrews.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, how many new holding cells will be built in the new space?
Through the chair, there will not be excuse me 1 minute. Through the chair, there's two rooms that we're characterizing as secure slash holding slash waiting rooms.
Thank you. Can you, through the chair, could you tell me at what capacity level does the jail operate currently? Like a monthly estimate?
Does that really have anything to do with the referral at hand?
The referral addresses expanding the current location, so I wanted to know at what level the current facility operates.
All right, okay, I'll go along with it.
Through the chair, I don't have an exact population head count at present. I think there's capacity for over 300 tenants, if you will, and last count, I believe, I understood the sheriff to say they were in about the 280 range.
Okay, thank you. And then lastly, through the chair, could you just tell us the timeline for the construction, when you expect it to start and when you think it will be finished?
Yes, through the chair, the construction is anticipated to start in July of this year, 2013, with an estimated completion date of March of 2014.
Thank you very much.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-124.
Moved by Legislator Antelli, seconded by Legislator Hanna. Is there any discussion? Legislator Haney.
Through the chair, isn't the correctional facility on the Iola steam system?
Through the chair, Justin Roy with Environmental Services, no.
Really? Even though it's just across the canal from the steam plant? Was it built that way, that it was never connected?
The answer to your question was no, Paul.
I'm sorry?
The answer to your question was no.
So it
Through the chair, no. The boiler steam to hot water conversion is part of the project, and there's also electric heaters being converted to natural gas as part of the project, so it's not connected to the Iola system.
Through the chair, have we explored whether there might be efficiencies to putting it on the Iola system?
Through the chair, not that I'm aware.
I'm sorry?
Through the chair, not that I'm aware.
Well, I guess that forces me to ask, would it be wise to do so?
Through the chair, I wouldn't speculate.
Any other discussion? Legislator Andrews.
Mr. Chair, through you to the administration, the referral indicates that this energy performance or this energy audit was conducted as consistent with New York State Energy Law, Article 9. Does that section of law require that this audit be done?
Through the chair, I don't believe the law specifically requires the audit to be done. However, it's standard practice for energy performance contracts that you do a detailed energy audit to determine the improvements that will be made and the savings to be generated from them to determine the viability of the project.
Thank you. And through the chair, how did you determine to undertake this at this point in time?
Through the chair, the existing utilities, if you will, in the building were original, most of them to the building, and there was a need due to their functional life to be replaced.
And then through the chair, if I understand correctly, you did not at all explore connecting to the Iola steam as a solution?
Through the chair, I do not believe that was part of the audit, correct?
Can you explain through the chair a little bit of how there can be guaranteed annuals or guaranteed energy savings?
Through the chair, most simply, I would refer to lighting. As you're probably aware, there's been a number of improvements over the years in lighting technologies as it relates to compact fluorescent bulbs, LED bulbs, and what have you. Simply, if you were to take what was previously, let's say, a 120-watt fixture and replace that with a comparable 40-watt fixture, you can calculate that consumption over time, the difference, and assign a dollar value to that based on current and future anticipated energy prices.
Thank you. So through the chair then, unlike the subsequent referral in the packet where there's another energy audit being done, there's not any sort of lease arrangement with the lighting as part of this agreement?
Through the chair, the way the deal would be structured is that you would do a municipal lease for the improvements that are installed, and then at the end of that municipal lease, you would take possession of the improvements for $1.
And through the chair, then at what point in time will we take possession of them?
Through the chair, at the conclusion of the lease.
And through the chair, then when does the lease conclude?
Excuse me, Legislator Andrews, you talking about 124 or 125?
124.
It's the one we're on.
Through the chair, the lease is a 15-year lease.
So I'm sorry, I'm not following you really clearly. So just to clarify then, through the chair. So with what happens here is that we will then lease the lighting for 15 years and then come to possess it at the end of the 15 years for $1?
Through the chair, as it relates to the correctional facility, there are a number of energy conservation measures to be implemented in addition to lighting. Lighting was just an example to discuss the calculation of savings, but there are items including lighting, more efficient motors, new chillers, building envelope improvements, windows and caulking, and I believe a little bit of roof work that we would take, that would be, and actually even some freezers and walk-in coolers that would be part of the lease, and at the end of the term of the lease, you would take possession of those items for $1.
Through the chair then, so we will lease all of the items you just listed from John W. Danforth Company?
Through the chair, the lease will be with the financing company who finances the project. In essence, this referral authorizes what would be, in essence, 2 agreements, one with Danforth for performance. Upon completion of the legislative authorization process, the financing will be competitively solicited, and the county will enter into a finance arrangement with the entity that provides the best deal to the county, and they, in essence, are on the other side of the lease transaction until its completion.
All right, thank you. Through the chair then, do we have similar arrangements currently in place in other facilities that we own?
Through the chair, there's 2 prior projects I'm aware of at Monroe Community Hospital, as well as, I believe, an agreement at the Van Leer Treatment Plant.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair, since these are going to be leased rather than purchased, do I assume, therefore, that there was no competitive bidding that was done for this work?
Through the chair, there was a competitive selection process to identify Danforth as the vendor for the project. And through the delivery of the project, bids are solicited where necessary to ensure that the county is getting the best price. We do price comparison throughout the project. Article 9 allows for a design-build process to achieve energy performance contracts.
Right. So, through the chair, the process by which Danforth was selected, is that like an RFP process?
Through the chair, correct.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
What?
Roll call vote, please. On number 124.
Ms. Andrews? Mr. Antelli? Mr. Broth? Mr. Daniele is excused. Mr. Haney? Mr. Hanna? Mr. Howland? Ms. Cayley is excused. Mr. McCann? Mr. Tucciarello? Chairman Yolovich?
Yes.
8-1, motion passes.
Next item, please.
Referral 13-125,
Moved by
authorized.
Legislator Hanna, seconded by Legislator Howland. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please. just make it 8-1.
Okay.
Next item, please, I'm sorry.
Item number 13-127, authorize
Moved
annual
by Legislator
glycol.
Howland, seconded by Legislator McCann. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I had a question about the glyco disposal process, and I note that from prior conversation, it's my understanding that the runoff is collected into the disposal system that goes to Van Laer. Is that correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, yes, that is correct.
Thank you. And then through the chair of the administration, what happens if we actually have an extremely heavy rain and the sewer system and the water system mix together? How is that dealt with? Through the chair.
Through the chair, the collection system during an unusually heavy event is designed to overflow, if needs be, into the Genesee River through a permitted outfall.
So through the chair of the administration, in the case of a heavy rain, we could have, if there's a lot of de-icing going on, which is, I admit, unlikely, we could have that outflow going into the Genesee. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that's certainly a potential, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then through the chair of the administration, I note that in the very last sentence it says the glyco permit procedure provides a means to enforce compliance. What is that means of enforcing compliance? Through the chair.
Through the chair, the airport has what is often referred to as a speedies permit, a state pollutant discharge elimination permit, and as a condition of the permit, they're required to achieve compliance.
Thank you. So through the chair to the administration, am I correct to assume then that to achieve this compliance, we actually go out and check at some point in time?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you.
Point of information for me. During a large rainstorm or heavy continued rain, we wouldn't be using glycol anyway, would we? It's used to de-ice, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right or wrong?
Mr. Chairman, that would be correct. Of course, everything's weather dependent, but what you stated is correct.
Thank you. Legislator Baroth.
Sorry. Through the chair, and thank you for the point of information. That's actually very pertinent. So then, through the chair of the administration, I would be correct to assume then that this, in fact, has never happened, that such an overflow has never occurred, as far as we know.
Through the chairman, we'd like to get back with you on that because to our recollection, it has not, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-128, amend
Moved by
resolution.
Legislator McCann, seconded by Legislator Tucciarello. Is any discussion? Legislator Andrews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, what's this space currently used for at the airport?
The space is, through the chairman, the space right now is used by Homeland Security. This would be an expansion of their footprint. I'm sorry, through the chairman. The space, the new space being leased is currently vacant.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, although I suspect I know the answer, the referral talks about this is going to be considered by the authority at the March 27th meeting. Am I correct to assume that it was approved?
Through the chairman, that's correct.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-129,
Moved by Legislator Tucciarello, seconded by Legislator Antelli. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I have two questions. The first is, does this referral include the purchase of new EMAS blocks? I believe it does, but is that correct, through the chair?
Through the chairman, that's correct.
Thank you. And my second question is, through the chair, why is it that the local share of 5% in this particular referral is being paid for by the airport authority itself as opposed to typically the county, which is in past referrals has been the case? Why is the airport authority taking on this expense directly?
Through the chairman, all local share is revenue generated through the authority. So through the chairman, I'm not sure I understand the question then.
Well, thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I was confused simply because I've never seen the airport authority being directly tasked or made responsible for the billing and a referral. I've always seen it as being Monroe County bonding it, and then it would go eventually to come from the airport authority, just not directly. I didn't know there was a particular reason why we went directly to the airport authority this time. It was more a point of information than anything else.
Through the chairman, the funding for all airport improvement projects and passenger facility charge projects, or all FAA funded projects, would be 90% from the federal government, 5% from the state, and 5% from the municipality. In this case, the authority is chartered to generate the revenue, and therefore it comes out of authority, the authority's revenues. How airport generated revenues?
I understand, but and through the chair of the administration, but on the very next referral we're going to consider, that's not the case. In the very next one, it talks about coming out of a line from the capital fund, and I just did not know why this did not do that.
Through the chairman, we're going to have to get back about the terminology. However, the funding is the same and does not change. The bonding resolution is there to back the project. However, the funding remains the same.
Well, then, thank you. And then through the chair of the administration, I'm happy, I wish to support this. I will vote in favor of this, but I do look forward to hearing an explanation of the difference between the two, if for only reason for my own edification, because I was truly confused by that. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-130,
Moved by
authorize.
legislator Antelli, seconded by legislator Hannah. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-131.
Moved by legislator Hannah, seconded by legislator Howland. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-132,
Moved by
authorize.
legislator Howland, seconded by legislator McCann. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-133.
Moved by legislator McCann, seconded by legislator Tucciarello. Is there any discussion? Legislator Barone.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I have a question about the price for the 6-acre parcel. I realize it's landlocked, but $3,600 seems mighty low for 6 acres of undeveloped land. Are we certain that this is correct? I mean, or am I just way off base here thinking that that's too low?
Through the chair, Tim Murphy, Director of Real Property. Based on other similar sales of landlocked parcels in that area, that is the going rate.
Okay.
Also unimproved.
Pardon?
It's unimproved.
Unimproved. Thank you.
And we're cheap out in Parma, too. Relax. Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Does Mr. Burns own adjoining property that this becomes useful to him, that by combining parcels, it's no longer landlocked?
Through the chair, he does own, he recently purchased other adjoining land, which surprisingly enough is also landlocked, but he has an agreement for access with one of the road frontage owners.
So his other land that he just bought adjoins this, and he has an access by easement?
Well, he didn't describe it as an easement. He described it as an, as an agreement. So I don't know whether he has it's a formal easement or not. He just said he had access to the land that he most recently purchased.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-134.
Moved by Legislator Tucciarello, seconded by Legislator Antelli. Is there any discussion? Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When we initiated this process, this is the second year that we've used this process of using the Daily Record as opposed to the Democrat and Chronicle. When we switched last year, was there any noticeable diminution in subsequent payments or anything? I mean, it used to be that when that list got published on August 15th, all kinds of people would suddenly discover that, although they should have known it all along, they hadn't paid their taxes, and there'd always be a rather significant inflow of money right after that. Did we notice any diminution in that last year?
Mr. Chairman, the amount of collections we receive after notice is somewhat consistent from year to year, but I would be happy to check our treasurer's office to secure a more definitive response.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Legislator Andrews.
Thank you. Through the chair. Last year, we did, however, post in the Democrat and Chronicle notice of the fact that this list was going to be printed elsewhere. Are we not going to do that this year?
Mr. Chairman, I believe the question references the notice that takes place prior to publishing the full list. The notice of the upcoming list will be published both in the Daily Record and the Rochester Business Journal.
And through the chair, then why won't it this year again be posted in the Democrat and Chronicle?
Mr. Chairman, the price differential on the what we generally refer to as a 30-day ad is $500, what we spent last year in the DNC versus an estimated $73 in the RBJ.
Thank you.
Am I correct in assuming that notice will also be on the website?
Mr. Chairman, yes, it will.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, what is the cost, or at least the estimated cost, of the publication of the full list in the Daily Record?
$50,380.
I take it I missed that then? Right.
Mr. Chairman, I'll correct you. You were off by $10.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then as a point of information, am I missing this amount of money on the referral somehow? I mean, you just knew that.
Oh, I'm
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Oh.
No? No? 3 noes? Roll call vote.
Ms. Andrews? Mr. Antelli? Yes. Mr. Baroth? No. Mr. Daniele is excused. Mr. Haney? No. Mr. Hanna? Yes. Mr. Holland? Yes. Ms. Cayley is excused. Mr. McCann? Yes. Mr. Tucciarello? Yes. Chairman Yolovich?
Yes.
6-3, motion passes.
Next item, please.
Referral 13-135,
Moved
authorize
by
the
legislator
contract.
Antelli, seconded by legislator Hannah. Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's customary in the referrals that all officers of an entity are listed by name and that they have no delinquent taxes. In this case, only the president has been listed. Is there a reason the other officers aren't listed for this contractor?
Mr. Chairman, we can confirm that if there are any other officers, in general, if there's a long list, we usually truncate it to just the principal officers, president, and so on. If there are other officers that should be disclosed for this particular company, we'd certainly do that. They have just an oversight.
Okay, I'd appreciate hearing by the time of the ledge meeting whether there are any other. I mean, usually we at least list the secretary and treasurer and one or two vice presidents if they have them. But I'd appreciate learning that by the ledge meeting. Thank you.
Do that. Thank you.
Is there any legislator Andrews?
Thank you. Who else responded to this RFQ? Through the chair.
Through the chair, Tipping Point Media.
Thank you. And through the chair, how much revenue is received from the surcharges applied to handicap parking violations?
Through the chair, the amount rotates each year. It's based upon a surcharge from the actual tickets written. Comes from two funding sources, one the city and the other one from the state, and that encompasses all the tickets in the towns. It is typically about $15,000 a year. In 2012, it was 15, with 9,000 of it coming from the city and 6,000 from the state.
Thank you then. And through the chair, what would be the standard agency commission rate of 15%?
Through the chair, the rate is 15%. So if you were to do a $100,000 buy, they would get 15% paid back from the station that they purchased the advertisement from.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 13-141.
Moved by legislator Hannah, seconded by legislator Howland. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Is there any unfinished business to come before this committee? Legislator Haney.
I'd like to make an inquiry as to whether we ended up selling any of the tax liens at December before the fiscal year closed. The last time I asked, the former CFO didn't know whether he was going to sell any or not.
Mr. Chairman, yes, there was a tax lien sale in December of last year.
And how much was sold? What?
Mr. Chairman, I did not bring that figure with me tonight. Would it be permissible for me to respond at a later time?
Thank you. I'd appreciate that.
Any other unfinished business? Hearing none. The April 24th, 2013 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Ways and Means Committee is scheduled for May 22nd, 2013. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.